I'm one of, and maybe the only photographer in the hip hop culture that came from within the culture. You know, I wasn't sent to document this. And it's important. It's important for the Latinos, it's important for African Americans, it's important for everybody to document their own culture and not let somebody else document it. And my contribution to the culture of hip hop, to the history of the Bronx, as a person born and raised there, is to document my surroundings. And that's why I love photography so much, because it lets me document things that I love. And through my travels all over the world, because of my photography, I document, you know, my travels. And it's really important. You know, a picture doesn't lie. You know, and I hope through my pictures, I can tell a story of good, bad, and beautiful times. The New York Times called me the man who took hip hop's baby pictures, so I have some of the earliest images of hip hop. And in this first photograph is DJ Kool Herc, who is the father of hip hop, who's considered the father of hip hop, who started hip hop, and DJ Tony Tone. Tony Tone and I went to high school together. Okay? And this next shot is of the Cold Crush Brothers. Cold Crush Brothers are considered some of the pioneers and bricklayers of the culture of hip hop. They didn't make but a couple records, but even today, 40 years later, Jay-Z sings about them. Do they have the show Empire in Berlin?
No, they don't.
Okay, there's this famous TV show right now called Empire, and it's like the #1 hit, and they speak about the Cold Crush Brothers in this TV show, so that's how famous. This color shot of the Cold Crush Brothers is kind of funny because hip hop is made up of so many different types of music. You can see jazz in hip hop music, you can hear rock and roll, punk rock, this, that, so much different, you know? And this is when hip hop was going through that phase of they didn't know what they wanted to do. So this is the punk rock phase where they dress up in tight leather pants and colorful things. This image done by the world famous Tats Crew pays homage to my grandmother, and they use some of my images as references. We will never stop struggling here in the Bronx. Even though they have destroyed it around us, we would pitch tents if we have to rather than move from here. We would fight back. There's nothing we would not do. They will never take us away from here. I feel very much part of this, and I'm never gonna leave. And after me, my children will be here to carry on, and I have very strong grandchildren. So, you know, she's been gone now for almost 20, 84, 94, 2004, almost 30 years. And I'm happy that I'm carrying on her legacy in my photography and in my job as a union vice president. United Bronx Parents is an organization that my grandmother started back in the 60s or 70s. And it's an organization to protect the kids of the Bronx and protect the community as a whole. Years ago, when the migration of Puerto Rican people came to New York City, they were thrown into public education, so my grandmother was instrumental in starting bilingual education. Unheard of. And it was because of her, you know, bilingual education was introduced into the public schools. And she started a whole bunch of other social economic programs like the summer lunch program, the breakfast program, and would feed the kids of the South Bronx. Again, in a club in Harlem World, we didn't have the internet back then, okay? We didn't have cell phones, beepers, or anything like that. So if you wanted to spread the word of hip hop, you would do flyers, you would do posters and stuff and hand them out to the crowds. And this is KG throwing out my pictures to the crowd. Hip hop is one of the only genre of music that incorporates pretty much every style of music. The hearing, the speaking, the culture as a whole. So, you know, jazz doesn't do that, rock and roll doesn't do that, but hip hop borrows from all types of music. And that's why it's accepted across so many different ethnic backgrounds. This is in a school gymnasium. Like I said, we couldn't do shows in clubs yet because we were too young. but we do them in high school gymnasiums. And you see the basketball rims here, okay? But you would get 400 or 500 kids in there just to see a show. And it probably cost like $2 or $1 to get in. We had our own fan club that would dress up, you know, wearing sweatshirts with the, you know, the group's names on it and their names on it. It was fun. This is an early shot of a skinny Africa Bambaataa, who I considered my father, and he's considered the godfather of hip hop. Charlie Chase, Red Alert, Powwow from the Soul Sonic Force. And this was shot at Kips Bay Boys Club. Anybody know who Jennifer Lopez is? Yeah. This is where she learned how to dance, in this boys club here. Being born in New York, you know, I went through some trials and tribulations. You know, I sold my camera equipment, you know, after I took a lot of pictures, because I was dealing with drug abuse, okay? My mother had the foresight or the knowledge to save my negatives. And once I got clean and sober, and I've been clean 24 years now, sin droga, I got all my stuff together, and not knowing that, you know, my work, people wanted to see it, I've been, you know, I put everything together, and I've been traveling the world. My images are shown all over the world. My archives, all my 10,000 film negatives are deposited at Cornell University. People can go online and do research now. I mean, it's just been a blessing. You know, I was homeless at one time, and through, you know, the grace of God, and, you know, I'm here. My grandmother always said, you know, there's a saying, no hay mal que por bien no venga. You know, so I take from whatever bad happened, and I take some good out of it. And my trials and tribulations of being homeless and living in the street made me into the man I am today. I'm here sitting talking to you, talking to the people in Puerto Rico about who I am as a Latino, and that there is hope. There is hope for everybody. And this kid from the South Bronx is going to Paris tomorrow. This kid from the South Bronx has been to Bulgaria, London, Japan, Korea, Amsterdam. This kid from the South Bronx, this Latino Puerto Rican, has been all over the world. So, you know, that's the message I have to my family everywhere.